Hello everyone. Am I audible? Yes, no, partial. Okay. So since we are waiting for a few more minutes if people want to join. So in the meanwhile, can we have short introduction? So I guess I know Mansi. She was there in the first lecture also. Minha and Sneh, were you there in the first lecture which we had last Saturday? Yes, no. Okay, you were not there. Okay, so if you're comfortable, you can turn your video on and unmute yourself and give a brief introduction, just like what's your name, from where are you, what you guys are pursuing, basic information. And before doing anything, just raise your hand so that I'll ask you to unmute and all. If you are not comfortable with unmuting yourself and turning your video on, you can type in the chat box also. Okay. Minha, as I can see that your video is on. If you're comfortable, you can speak. Yeah, Sneh, please go. Uh,
So, hello, my name is Sneha Gosai. I am from Gandhinagar, Gujarat, and I am currently in third year of Bachelor of Technology. I am pursuing my BTech from PDPU Gandhinagar in course of Information and Communication Technology. We have a curriculum in which we have to take an NPTEL course of any field. So I'm interested in like physiology and anatomy and like human related stuff. So I pursued this course. I am interested in this course, so I'm excited for knowing much about human physiology and how our body works. And I want to study like this medicine application of computer science. So that's why I'm taking this course, so I can get knowledge of that and I can use in with align my knowledge and do something better in this field for society and anything.
oh, that's so nice to hear. Because my next question was gonna be this only, that why, if you can take any course, then why are you taking animal physiology? Oh, it's nice.
Thank you.
Uh, Nidhi, if you're comfortable, you can unmute and give very brief introduction about yourself. Otherwise, you can just type in the chat box your name, from where you are, and what you are posting now, right now.
Good evening, ma'am.
Hi.
Ma'am, I'm Nidhi from Bhubaneswar, pursuing BSc Biotechnology.
Which year you are in?
Ma'am, I'm first year right now, second semester.
Okay. So any specific reason why you have opted for this course?
Yes, ma'am. I came to know about an NPTEL from my college, and I want to. I love to know more about new things. That's why I enroll about in this topic.
Very nice. So I don't think so. You guys must be having any animal physiology dedicated course in BSc, right?
No, ma'am. We don't have.
You are in biotechnology, so it must be
Yes.
biochemistry and all.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay, nice. I hope that you guys are enjoying this course. And I can see Minha's back camera, I guess. So Minha, if you're not comfortable in unmuting, just write in the chat box, and also you can turn off your camera if you are not okay with it, because I can see your room. Yeah. Otherwise, no problem. Like in whichever place and area you are comfortable, it's completely fine with me. So I guess we can start. We are already 10 minutes into our session. So, okay, any of you can summarize? Okay, first I need to know, have you all gone through the second week's lecture? If yes, just give a thumbs up. Okay, Mansi is done with second week's lecture. What about Sneh and Nidhi? I'm sorry, I might be taking your guys' name a lot because it's a very limited number student I can see here. Okay, Nidhi is also went through it. Yeah, Archana, do you have any question or you are just responding to my question?
Yes, responding. Attended
Ah,
second week.
okay. Yeah, so I think you
Yeah.
were not there in the previous lecture, right?
No, I was not
Last
there.
Saturday's lecture?
No, I
No,
was
Yeah,
not.
ma'am.
yeah. So can you just give us some brief information about yourself, like your name, what you are pursuing, from where you are, and all basic stuff?
Yes. Good evening.
Yeah, hi.
Myself, Archana Shirke. I am actually a biology faculty at the DFC, Nandi Foundation Center at Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar.
Okay.
And since from 2009, I am in a teaching field. I have completed my MSc and BEd. MSc in biotechnology and then BEd.
And
So in
why are you taking this course?
this course is actually just for my revision and to get good opportunities in this career. And of course, the course is very helpful. Sir explained all the concepts in a very good manner, in a simplified manner. So that also helps to improve my teaching
Yeah,
capabilities and all. So
yeah.
that's
Okay.
why.
Okay. Thank you. You can mute yourself now. It's
Yes,
seriously
thank
nice.
you.
Like there are so many people I get to know via this live sessions. Yeah. So you can put your hands down, Archana. Yeah. So I guess I can assume that 50% of you might have already gone through the second week's lecture. And this will be my suggestion to all of you, that I guess you have 3 live sessions for this course. One is on Tuesday and 2 are on Saturday itself, right? So in whichever you're comfortable, your time allows you to attend, do attend the live sessions, first thing. And second thing, attending live sessions without going through the week's lecture won't benefit you to the extent which we are assuming. Because as I already told you in the previous week, the introductory class, that whatever we are discussing here, it is as a previous year questions, right? And previous year questions are based upon your uh, that particular week's lecture. So if you haven't gone through the lectures, chances are that it will be just like I'm discussing question, you are responding, that's it, without actually understanding like the basic or the fundamental of things, right? Because I'm not covering lectures here, I'm just discussing certain questions. So it will be beneficial for you as well as for me, because then we can have more deeper discussions rather than just discussing the questions, right? So that, and also if you guys are having any doubt, because you will come to know about having doubts only when you're gone through the lectures, right? That you are not understanding something, you're okay with this, you're not okay with this, anything. So I will recommend you all to like before coming to the lectures, the live sessions, do complete your weekly lectures. I guess there are 5 in number mostly, and they range maybe 30 to 35 minutes if I'm correct. So that is not a lot of time. Even if you guys watch one lecture per day also, then also it is easy to balance. First thing. And second thing is that I will recommend you guys to actually enroll for the certification program, because if you are spending time in it, right? So why not get a certificate out of it? And in the certificate and the exam, you don't need to study like separately for the exam. If you guys are following the week's lecture, you are attending the live sessions, you are doing your assignments with the week itself and not piling it up, it's pretty easy to get a good score in this particular subject, because you don't need to put much effort if you're following the weekly lectures as well as the live session, right? I hope this makes sense. And with this, now my question goes to all of you. First, yeah, hi, it's me. I'm Himanshi. I'm a third year PMRF PhD candidate in IIT Kanpur in BSB department, that is Biological Science and Bioengineering. Today I'll be discussing second week previous year assignment questions, which might help you in solving your current assignment questions and might help you in understanding certain concepts also, right? So exam will be subjective or objective. Uh, it's a combination of both, Mansi, and it depends upon the faculty at that time who is setting up the paper. So I don't have much knowledge about it, much information about it. I guess by November end or October starting, you might have some basic idea about what kind of a structure of the exam is there. And if I know anything, I'll surely pass the information to you guys. So don't worry about it. Exams in October. Yeah, then I guess by September, you guys know. As per my information, again, it depends upon the faculty who is setting up the paper at that time. I don't have any personal contact with sir right now. So if I have any information, I'll give it to you. But as per my previous knowledge, and for other subjects which I have taken courses, they have a culmination of both. Mostly it will be objective and somewhat subjective questions will also be there. But yeah, I'll confirm it once and then I'll let you know, guys. Okay. Yeah. So before starting previous year questions discussion, so as I've seen that at least 50% of the population has completed the this week's lecture. So I want to know if anyone can brief me what we have learned in this week. Anyone who wants to volunteer, just give me a very brief blueprint of what we have learned and I'll add to it. Even if you do not remember completely, I will try to help you out, guys, also. Yeah, Mansi, please unmute yourself and yeah, go ahead.
So good evening, ma'am.
Yeah, hi.
Hi. Ma'am, in this particular week, sir taught us about the skeletal system, which is further divided into bones, cartilage, which are also known as the specialized connective tissue. And it is also a part of integumentary system. So first thing we learned about are the hair and the function of hair, that it protects our body from dehydration. It helps in preserving body temperature, and it also protects our skin from the harmful UV rays. Next thing Sir taught about is about the skin, which is the part of the epidermal tissue. Epi means above and dermal means skin. And last, and about the accessory structures, which includes nails and exocrine glands. Then, ma'am, I have to explain the exact full structure of hair as well.
No. We are just getting everyone at the same page so that they can revise themselves that what they have gone through. So whatever you have told, it's absolutely correct. But if you put it in a better and in a hierarchical manner. So first we have discussed about the integumentary system, right? So
Yes,
what
ma'am.
is integumentary system? Integumentary system is our interaction with the outside environment. Whatever interacts with the outer environment, whatever the organs are there, the hairs, the sensory part of it, the secretory part of it, all of these things were part of integumentary system on a whole, right? And then second, then we went into deeper. From outside to inside, then we went towards skeletal system or bones, right? And in skeletal system and in locomotion or bones and all those, we have learned about the connection which is made by bone to bone, right? Or bone to muscle. These were some basic things. I'm not going too deep into it because I would like you guys to go through the lectures, because how sir has taught, it will be very easier for you guys to remember things. Otherwise, if you just listen, it will be like very complicated system. So if we see how sir is teaching and how he goes from very basic thing to the complex thing, you guys will be able to make a mind image which will help you guys in remembering things, right? If you remember, if you're talking about integumentary system, so can anyone tell me what are the parts of integumentary system? Mansi, you can put your hand down. Apart from Mansi, anyone else want to take a chance? That what are the parts of integumentary system? Anyone? It's okay. As I mentioned earlier, that integumentary system is the one in which we are interacting with the external surrounding. So what are the things which you can notice which are directly in contact with the external environment? The first thing which we notice is our skin, right? Everyone agrees with me? Put your hands up. I don't want you guys to sleep in this lecture. Yeah. So you need to respond. Great. Yeah, Sneh, you want us? Acha, okay, you are just putting your hands up. Okay. Okay, Samadrito. Okay, Samadrito is going into the details of things. So, but logically speaking, and we don't need to like ratify anything here. It's animal physiology. We all are conscious being. We can see, we can sense, right? So without mugging up anything, we will try to make concepts based upon our observations. So what we observe, what are the things which are interacting with the environment when we are sitting here? So if you're looking at me, you can clearly see that this is the external environment for me. This is me. So what is separating me from the environment? It is the skin, right? So skin is posing as a barrier between the external environment and my internal physiology, correct? In skin, what else we have? We have skin, we have our hair on the skin, we have nails, we have hair on our scalp, right? We have sweat glands, if you remember, right? And we have one other thing. What we have? We have the color to the skin, right? And the color is because of which pigment?
Ma'am, melanin.
Very good. So for uh like for the rest of the class, kindly raise your hand if you want to answer, because this will make things go easy rather than mixing everything up. Okay. And yes, Minha, it's melanin. Great. So what are some major properties, or say characteristics of melanin? Why it is present here? Why we need melanin? Without melanin, what will happen? Can anyone try to answer that? Okay, Sneh, go ahead.
It protects us from sun rays, like hazardous UV rays, and so more the you are exposed to the UV rays, more melanin you have, so you can you can get the protection from the sun.
Okay, I have one more question, and I want to say, okay, what comes first according to you? That we got melanin pigment because the UV rays were there and they were harmful to us, or the UV rays were there, then we got the pigment. Did you get my question? What I'm trying to
Yes,
ask?
ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Anyone
I
wanna
guess
try to answer? Acha, go ahead. Go ahead.
I guess our skin has some particular cells, I guess melanocytes, which develops melanin in our body, and Melanin is present because of UV rays, because if we are not so exposed to the UV rays, we won't get melanin. I guess I am aligned with this statement.
Okay. Anyone else wanna take a dig in it? Okay, Mansi, you are suggesting skin cancer. That I agree, but I want you guys to think, because I'm also thinking in this way. See, we all are evolutionary being, right? We all evolved. So from a single cell organism to a multicellular organism to now we are a complex multicellular organism. So we need to get this in our mind that evolution will always keep things which are beneficial for the being, for the survival. Everyone agrees with me in this? Give a thumbs up if you agree with this statement, that evolution will keep only those things which are beneficial for the survival of the organism. Correct? Okay. Samadrito and Archana do not agree with me. Okay, so do you guys have alternate opinion about it, or you guys didn't react? Archana, do you have a question or you are supporting it? Because hands up means you have some question, thumbs up means you are responding to my question. Yeah. Okay, you are thinking. Samadrito is thinking, great. We have enough time that we'll get to this question. So according to me, what I was thinking is that, because if you remember, how was the earlier earth conditions were? Like before, when the life was beginning to evolve, when we had like coicervates and single cell organisms were coming into play, then algae and chlorophyll containing organisms came into play. So how was the uh, environment or the climate or the weather of the earth was like? Was it very high in UV radiation, or was it moderate, or was there no sunlight at all, or was there extensive sunlight? So think in that direction, right? Because if we had complete darkness, the sun was not there. So at that condition, in those conditions, do we need a pigment which responds to UV light? Does that make any sense? If we don't have a sunlight, if we don't have UV radiations, say, so do we actually need melanin? Do we need melanin in those conditions? Yes, no, just type in the chat box. My question is, yeah, okay, Sneh and Nidhi are saying no. Archana is also saying no. Yeah, so it's very basic thing, right? And how can we agree to this statement? Because even nowadays, we know that there are certain fish species deep down the water bodies who do not possess any light sensing like organs, right? They are blind basically. And why they are blind? Because they don't need to see, because the sunlight or any kind of light doesn't reach to the deeper end of the water body. So if light is not there, then why you need eyes or photosensing organs or cells for that sake, right? So from this observation, we can say if the earlier environment was lagging in sunlight, or it doesn't had any UV radiations, we might not be having such dedicated cells which produce a pigment which help us in protecting against from those harmful UV radiations. Correct? Everyone till here, everyone is with me? Give a thumbs up. Okay, great. So we were talking about melanin. So one thing which Mansi texted was skin cancer, right? So anyone of you have basic idea or very basic information how melanin protect us? We know that melanin are there. Melanin provide us color. So if, and they both are somewhat directly related, that if more sunlight or more UV rays are there, more melanin pigment will be there and more darker complexion you will be, right? It's somewhat linear. To major extent, it is linear, but we cannot say for sure that it is a direct relationship. So we will just call it as a linear relationship. Okay. So absorbs, Archana is saying that melanin help us in protecting from skin cancer because melanin absorbs UV rays. So if melanin pigment absorbs UV rays, melanin is a pigment which is present in a cell. So any cell which is exposed to UV rays, they will have cell damage, right? Why we are saying that UV causes cancer? Because UV causes DNA damage, right? And DNA damage leads to like uncontrolled cell division in cell, which in other way we call cancer. So if we are saying that melanin absorbs UV rays, melanin is present in a cell. So in a way, that cell should also be cancerous, right? So anyone has any idea about it? What I'm asking, I'll clear my question one more time. I'm saying we got cancer, or say here we are talking about skin cancer because of UV rays or UV damage. What UV rays does is that UV rays damages our cells' DNA. And if that damage is not repaired on time, or the damage is too much that our cells cannot repair it, they undergo rapid cell division, rapid growth, which is uncontrolled. And this is the condition which we call it as a cancer, right? So if melanin is present in a cell, that cell is getting UV rays, right? How come that cell is not getting converted into a cancerous cell? And with this very basic information, we also know that, I guess, whenever we are outside, our skin is exposed to sun, and melanin is the pigment which is absorbing UV rays. So in a way, melanin is the only pigment, or the melanocytes are the only cells which are continuously bombarded with UV rays, and still in like most of the cases, it is not converting into cancerous state, right? So how is this happening? Proto-oncogenes converts into oncogenes. That I agree. How cancer is developed, Archana, that proto-oncogenes gets converted into oncogenes. But I'm saying this phenomena will also be applicable for melanocytes, right? Melanocytes are also our cell only. Correct? You all agree with me? Thumbs up if you agree with me. And if you don't get my question, then just ask me to repeat. I'll repeat my question. I don't mind repeating things. I'll repeat one more time. See, what I am asking is that we are saying UV causes cancer. In between, whatever I've explained in past 3 minutes was just how UV causes cancer. So we know UV causes cancer. UV causes cancer by damaging cell. Melanocyte is also a type of cell which is continuously being bombarded with the UV rays. How come in most of the cases, the melanocyte is not getting converted into a cancerous cell? Yes, Sneh, go ahead.
I guess, ma'am, there is no mechanism for cell division in melanocytes.
No mechanism of division in melanocytes.
Like, I'm forgetting the particular particle of cell which is responsible for cell division because I'm not student of biology.
Yeah, no.
But there is a particular point in cell which is responsible for cell division. Like when we conceive in mother's womb, there is a process of cell division. That process is because of that particular point. So I guess I'm guessing properly because their point is not present in melanocytes because of the structure there is no cell division is happening. So that's why it is not like uncontrollable cell division, which is particular cancer. Am I right?
Not exactly, but I'll help you out. So I get it what you are saying. So for a non-biology person. Yes, you biology people are gonna help me out. Okay. So we need Sneh to understand one basic concept of cell division. So there are, if we say, there are two major types of cells in our body. The cell which continuously divide, and a cell which divided only once and was stored. So somatic cells and germinal cells. Okay. Somatic cells are every single cell in our body except gametic cells, and gametic cells are sperm and ova respectively in male and female. Okay. So every single cell which you see here is, especially if you see on the outside, they are the differentiated cells, which means this is the end stage of that cell. They are not gonna differentiate or multiply or divide in your language anymore. Okay. So can anyone tell me the difference between differentiated cell and non-differentiated cell? Anyone want to give it a try? Even if you are like you have basic idea about it, we'll work with that. Yes, Mansi, go ahead.
Ma'am, when a particular type of cell is specialized to perform a particular type of function, then it is known as, then we can say that the particular type of cell is differentiated.
Correct.
And if not, and if it is not specialized to perform the specialized function, then it is considered that it is not differentiated.
Okay, good. So for Sneh, I would like to I will try to explain in a simpler language. So what do we mean by differentiated cell? A differentiated cell is a cell which has attained its assigned function, right? So as we are discussing integumentary system, so in integumentary system, if you remember, there were epithelial cells. How many of you remember epithelial cells which were discussed in the weekly lectures? Give a thumbs up. And even if you do not remember from the class session, but if you remember epidermal cells, epithelial cells, these words, right, synonymous. So a differentiated cell is any cell which has attained its terminal function or terminal role, right? It cannot be further divided or cannot be further converted into any other cell. Everyone agrees with me? Give a thumbs up. I need more responses, guys. Yeah. And if you do not agree with me, unmute yourself when I'm asking you guys for thumbs up. If you don't agree with me, unmute yourself and we'll discuss, right? Every single one of us, we are just learning here. Yeah. So I think I made myself clear about the differentiated cell. A non-differentiated cell, on the other hand, means it is at the intermediary stage of attaining its proposed function. Now, that function and on which stage that cell is, we divide the cells into multiple categories. We'll discuss, I have one question in which we're going to discuss about the potency of the cell. So potency of the cell means at what stage or what potential the cell has. If a cell is at the maximum potential, means it cannot further attain any other function, it already has a function, right? On the other hand, if a cell has not yet attained its probable and proposed function, it is at intermediary stage, and it is either, it can be a multipotent cell or pluripotent cell. Okay, we don't worry about these terminologies, we're gonna discuss it. If you do not know, no worries, we're gonna discuss it in the coming slides. Okay, so Sneh suggested that why melanocytes are not the major cause of skin cancer, or that they do not oftenly convert into a cancerous cell, is because they don't have the ability to divide, right? Which in a way, wait, I got a message. Ma'am, I have a Yeah, no problem, Nidhi. It's completely fine. You can attend these live sessions whenever you want. There are 2 on Saturdays and 1 on Tuesday. So you can attend Tuesday's session. No worries. And all the best for your exam. Bye-bye. Yeah. So, yeah, where was I? I was at a cells potency states, right? So, okay. Yeah, sorry about that. So at the end of the day, Sneh suggested that those cells don't have the ability to divide, and hence how can they be a leading cause of a cancer? Well, it is one way to say that, because this is the reason why most of the cancers which people suffer from is in the cells which are rapidly dividing cells, right? For example, lymphomas. How many of you know about lymphomas? Lymphoma is the cancer of blood, or like mostly blood. Lymphomas are blood cancers, okay? And we know that our RBCs die at a frequent rate. They rejuvenate at a frequent rate. So any cell which is very high in dividing nature, dividing property, will be susceptible to be cancerous. But this single property cannot distinguish that why differentiated cells cannot be converted into cancerous cells, right? So like uh, without getting more deep into it, I wanted you guys to think in the direction that we have a pigment, right? Melanin. We started our discussion with melanin. So we have a pigment melanin which absorbs the UV light, correct? Hence, it won't let the UV light or the energy or the photons or the transmission which UV light or the UV does to our DNA, because that light has already been absorbed by a substance. So it won't be able to reach our target. The target was DNA. I was giving you guys continuously hint how a cancer is developed, right? So if we have a absorber, if this is our cell, this cell has dense, it's very dense with a pigment which absorbs UV light. This won't allow the the pigment won't allow the UV rays to get into the DNA. The DNA is in the nucleus. Are you guys getting my point, right? We have a surface. That surface, below that surface, we have multiple cells. Those multiple cells are packed with melanin, which provide us our skin color. That melanin pigment won't allow the UV to reach to that cell's DNA, and hence won't the UV won't be able to damage the DNA, and hence cancer won't be there. Hopefully, like this is what the hope is. Okay, I guess you guys get my point. If you are okay with this, we'll move forward. Give a thumbs up if you're fine with this. Okay. See, if you guys are not giving me thumbs up, then I'll keep dragging this point. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. So I guess we can start our discussion of questions. Yeah. So this is our first question. What it says? It says, which of the following is part of the integumentary system? Your option is skin, brain, spinal cord, kidneys. It's pretty easy question, but still I'll give you guys 1 minute to answer this question, and you can text your answer in the chat box. I want every one of you to give the answer in the chat box. Even if it is wrong, don't worry about it. We'll discuss. This is why we are here, right? So every one of you, every single one of you should give answers. And your 1 minute has already been started, but I'm just counting. Which of the following is part of the integumentary system? Skin, brain, spinal cord, kidneys. I guess it's ridiculous to give 1 minute for this question, right? So obviously the correct answer is skin, as we all know. And we are discussing this since past 20 minutes, that integumentary system is the system which separates the external environment, right? The individual from the external environment to the internal environment. This is the first barrier and all those blah blah things. What are some of the properties of skin? Anyone can enlist me at least 3 properties which skin provide us, or the benefits of having skin give us the ability to survive in ever changing external environment. Any 3 properties of skin? Anyone? Yes, Mansi, go ahead.
First is protection.
Protection against
A protection against bacteria, temperature,
good.
heat. Second is it is a sensory apparatus to sense various stimulus from the outside world. And the third is it helps in the excretion of water and organic salts and organic waste, which helps to maintain osmoregulation of the body.
Great. Very good. So I guess everyone will agree with Mansi that these are some of the basic benefits of having skin. And in the chat box also, we can see that there are some additional benefits of having skin provide us. And Minha, I don't get why you are saying keratin. We know that made up of keratin, but what it provides, what is the property associated with keratin? We are talking about properties, right? Yeah. So, and also, I have provided certain links in some of the slides, which will basically give you some brief information about the topics which we are discussing here. They are not book chapters or chapters, they are proper review articles. They might be heavy towards scientific side, but I try to give you some review aspect of it. So even if you do not understand completely whole 100% of the document, but I will suggest you guys to just at least read once. They will just give you very brief information about the topics, right? And if you remember from the live session, I've taken the slide from the live session only, that integumentary system was basically divided into 2 systems, right? Cutaneous system and accessory structure part of the integumentary system. So in cutaneous system, what were the things? It was majorly things which are on the skin, right? And accessory structures were the things which are associated with the skin, correct? So in cutaneous layer we had epidermis and dermis. Epidermis is the one which is the outside layer which we see. Dermis is the one which is just below the skin, right? And accessory structures are the one which are associated with the epidermis and dermis, depending upon which we are talking about, right? Everyone is here with me, right? I guess I wanted you guys to see some cool stuff. I found this cool. Let's see if I'm able to share my screen with you guys. Just give me 2 minutes. And okay, here it is. Let me know if you guys are able to see my current browser window. Are you guys able to see my browser in which I have integumentary system image open? Okay, this okay, okay, great. This is visible to everyone. So in lectures we have seen 2D drawings, right? So this is basically what your integumentary system is there. It's the 3D model of your integumentary system. This is cool, right? So if you click anywhere here, you can zoom in, zoom out, right? See, these were all the things which were discussed. And if you just click, for example, if I want to know about, let's start with the epidermis. So if I click on the epidermis, right, you'll get a brief information about the epidermis here. And also you can see in the 3D model how it looks. Everyone is able to see this 3D model of integumentary system. Thumbs up if you are able to see it. Yeah. So this is epidermis, and you can zoom in, you can explore. So what are these? If you remember, these were hair follicles, right? And these were sebaceous glands which were associated with it. These were our pores or the sweat glands which are associated with it. These are the veins and arteries which are associated with the basal membrane, right? This is epidermis. This is dermis. This is hair follicle, as I mentioned earlier, right? And this is at last our hypodermis, the basal layer, the basal membrane. Correct? So from this, we can actually visualize, and this visualization will help us in understanding how things actually look like. If you remember from the first class, since the beginning, I'm trying with you guys to visualize things in how they actually are without visualizing them in the representation manner or the cartoon manner, right? So I hope this was as cool for you guys as it was for me. So I have provided the link. So I have provided the link here, and let me know if you guys are now able to see my slides. Okay. So you guys able to see my slides now? Okay, cool. So that was the structure of the skin, which I wanted you guys to at least see once, explore how you want to see, read brief information. In that way, you guys don't need to mug up or learn just things. If you have an image of it, you know that this is epidermis, this is dermis, and in dermis, there were multiple layers. We have a hair follicle and blah, 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 XYZ things. Okay. So, okay, I got some yeses there. Cool. So we can move to our next question. Again, I've given a very brief structure of the integumentary system. And as you know, this is a very simplified one. Those who have gone through the second week lecture, you know that this is a very simplistic representation of the integumentary system, or specifically the our division of the skin layers, right? We will see in the coming slides also how these things get complicated. So our next question for today is, which pigment in our body absorbs UV rays? Oh my God, we literally discussed this for 15 to 20 minutes. Okay, so it's my duty that I should give you guys 1 minute for each question so that you guys can read it carefully, know the correct answer, and also know why the other options are wrong. Okay, so your 1 minute starts now, and the question is, which pigment in our body absorbs UV rays? Is it keratin, chlorophyll, melanin, or elastin? Oh, I've already gotten so many answers. Okay, obviously we have discussed it. So now I want you guys to think, what are other options which are not the correct answer associated with? Okay, I'm gonna ask about those things. So take your 1 minute for that. It's okay. You guys don't need my permission. Just it is completely dependent upon your availability and your time. Don't worry. It's okay. Mansi, do you have something to say?
No, ma'am, actually, I raised my hand to answer the question that you asked about the idea of rest of the option, then melanin.
Oh, okay. We're gonna answer that
Okay, no problem, ma'am, no
coming
problem.
1 minute. Okay. Yeah. So, obviously, the answer is melanin, right? And as you can see, this diagram is a bit more complex in comparison to the first one which we have seen. The first one was the integumentary system as a whole, and this is just the epidermis, right? And epidermis was the part of the integumentary system, the outermost part. Even this outermost part has 4 different layers. If you remember from the weekly discussion, there were layers in it. And there was a layer in the epidermis which is rich in melanocyte, which secrete or which has melanin, a pigment which absorbs UV rays. Correct? Okay. So what about keratin? Okay, yes, Mansi, go ahead. Just only tell me about keratin.
So keratin is present in the dead tissues of dead cells of our body. For example, hair and nails.
Do you think that statement is correct, that keratin is present in a dead tissue of our body?
Ma'am, I'm not sure. I just tried.
See, no, it's completely fine. Of a dead tissue of a body might be a wrong statement. It's better to say that these are the uh, dead cells or dead part of skin, because keratin is not present inside our body. Keratin is only present on the outside of the body. Okay. So on the surface level, keratin is present because keratin is present in nails, hairs, our skin, like which is literally a dead skin, which we shed oftenly. In winters, you guys might observe this phenomenon very frequently, that we are able to shed. If you're not using moisturizer and all those stuff, we literally shed our skin, right? So those are the dead cells which are rich in keratin. Keratin makes the outermost protective layer of our body. And keratin is the one which is present in our nails. Great. What about chlorophyll? Anyone else apart from Mansi who want to take part, who has not yet answered? Sneh, you answered. I might go to you, but I want others also to answer. What about Samadrito, Minha, Narendra? If you guys want to answer anything about chlorophyll, I don't want exact definition or structure or nothing. I just want some basic information about chlorophyll. That's it. So anyone else want to try? Samadrito texted chlorophyll in plant photosynthesis. Yes, correct. So now here I have a question. The question stated, which pigment in our body absorbs UV rays? So if the question stated which pigment absorbs UV rays in plants, can we say chlorophyll? I guess everyone will agree with me in this part, right? In plants, light is absorbed by chlorophyll. So is there any relation between chlorophyll and melanocytes? Because melanocytes are the one which are absorbing UV rays in human beings. And chlorophyll is the one which is absorbing light in plants. So is there any relation between melanocytes and chlorophyll or chlorophyll containing cells? Chloroplast. Xanthophyll protects. Samadrito. Okay. So I have to, because you texted me. So what is a xanthophyll? If you know, good. If you don't know, it's completely fine. Keratin pigment. Okay.
Ma'am, can you please repeat your question?
If you look in the chat box, Samadrito is answering that about chlorophyll, and he said that chlorophyll is present in plant and helps in photosynthesis. Then he texted that xanthophyll protects. So I asked, what is a xanthophyll? And then he texted keratin pigment. So do we need pigments just like we have a melanin pigment? Do plants also need certain pigments to absorb light? And that pigment is chlorophyll. If chlorophyll is absorbing light, so why the cells are not getting damaged there? The basic cell structure is same, right? cells, every single living cell has cytoplasm, has nucleus, has proteins and XYZ things, right, in it. Even the biochemistry part of it is somewhat similar. I'm not talking about that photosynthesis, because photosynthesis is only present in plants, like green plant, not present in humans. But still, for example, respiration. So we have some similar functionality associated with cells. So if we have a pigment which is helping us in protecting from UV rays, do plants also have certain pigments? And if yes, can you name any pigment? Yes, Mansi, go ahead.
Yes, ma'am, plants do have different kinds of pigments because they absorb different wavelengths of light, and for each wavelength of light, they have a specific pigment to absorb that. Like plant mainly absorb green and red color sunlight, and as you talked about the name of the pigments, there are chlorophyll A, B, C, xanthophylls, carotenoids, and many more.
Just cross check once, because you mentioned that plants mostly absorb green light. So if anything, any object absorbs one light, it won't be visible to us with that light, right? So if you guys can see that
Sorry, ma'am, I have to mention a red and a blue.
Yeah.
Actually. Yeah.
It's okay. I was getting with this red, I was getting there only. No problem. So it's a very basic principle, right? I guess I don't need to explain much to it. That if you're seeing this color as red, which means this cloth is absorbing all the colors from the white light and reflecting only the red color wavelength. It is not absorbing red color wavelength. That is why we are seeing it as red color. Okay, I hope everyone is clear with this. Just give a thumbs up, because it's a very basic principle in physics. Reflection, right? Okay, great. So where I was heading with this question, that you mentioned about pigments, though not related to this, but still we can say that there are pigments associated with it. So, but plants are continuously being exposed to the sunlight. They need sunlight, right? It's not like that if they are not in sunlight, they will survive, except certain group of plants which have learned how to survive in darkness, right? So I want you guys to think in a manner that a thing, and here the thing is sunlight. I hope the background noise is not disturbing you guys. Okay. So if a thing, here the sunlight, which is necessary for the survival of plant, is also causing the plants to be damaged, because UV rays, if they are damaging to us, they are damaging to plants also. So how plants have evolved in using their dependency to survive, because they cannot live without sunlight. Sunlight is causing harm. So how they have adapted to use sunlight to its maximum without getting its damaging effect. There's a dedicated, I don't want to give more hints on this, but you all are undergrad, at least like minimum, you all are in your undergrad degree. So there are dedicated systems and pathways in certain plants which help the plant in surviving in high, I don't want to use the term because you guys will know then, but it's okay, in high oxidative conditions, right? Or in high photon rich environment. So if you guys don't remember, just try to think about it and you guys come to know. There are dedicated plants who have adapted in such a manner that they can absorb the amount of light which they want, which gonna be helpful for them, and they'll then stop absorbing the light irrespective that they are present in bright sunlight at that time. So it is just a little homework for you guys to go through it. Okay. Then we'll go to our next question for today. Our next question is, which of the following is the lowermost layer of skin? Right? Is it germinativum, spinosum, granulosum, or corneum? I'll give you guys 1 minute for it. And also, if you know the correct answer, good for you. I also want you guys to remember what all other options means. Okay, go ahead. The question states, which of the following is the lowermost layer of skin? Remember, here we are talking about skin. Okay, I'm receiving some answers. I need more answers. Why only few answers are coming now? It's okay, take a wild guess. If you don't know the correct answer, and if you're able to break certain names also from these options, you will be able to get to the right answer. I hope so. Last 10 seconds. Anyone else want to submit their answer? Even if those answers are wrong, it's completely fine. You guys know me. I mind when you guys are not answering. I don't mind at all when you guys answer it wrong. Okay, go ahead and just give your guesses also. Don't worry about it. This is not your final exam or anything. I'm not going to scold you. Any more answers? So our time is up for this question. Anyone else want to try? Chalo, it's okay, no problem. Well, obviously, those who have answered A, it's absolutely the correct answer. And if you don't remember this particular answer, well, if you have gone through the second week's lecture, this was the end slide of that particular discussion of our skin. This seems a bit complicated, but trust me, if you go through this particular lecture, you will know how we have built from a single line to this complex structure, right? How many of you have gone through this particular lecture? Just give a thumbs up. No one remembers that they have studied this in this week's lecture. These slides are from the week lecture only. I'm not introducing any new slide. I'm only introducing certain figures and certain basic information which are given in the links. It's okay if you don't remember this, but if you go through the lectures again for the week second, specifically where the integumentary system and the structure of skin was discussed, you will see how from a single line, this skin structure was developed, this complex skin structure was developed. So alongside the lecture, try to draw it by your own hands. By this, you will remember that what layers come at what place. And again, if you notice, the options are given in the ascending order, like from basal layer to the topmost layer. So if you guys don't remember this, I'll just quickly brief this structure, which might not be clear to you guys, but I hope that you can go back to the lecture and see. So this is the first layer, which was the question, that this is the innermost or the lowermost layer, because this undulated layer is the dermis, right? This is the dermis layer, and this whole thing is epidermis, and the lowest layer of the epidermis or the skin is germinativum. I am having always, like, this is a difficult word for me to pronounce, so let's just call it germi from now onwards. So this is the lowermost layer of the skin, it's called germi. Then above this we have spinosum, right? Above this we have granulosum, and as the name suggests, granulosum means it has certain granules associated with it. And what are the granules? mostly which will be associated with the skin, it will be melanin pigment, right? So our melanin pigment is present in the granulosum layer. Then we have lucidum, and the topmost layer of the skin is called cornea. Okay, so if you go back to the lecture, you will understand what these these things, these arrows are everything. And if you are not getting from the lecture, let me know in the next session. We can discuss this from the bottom up. Okay, don't worry about it. So with this, we'll go to our next question. And before that, again, I'm sticking to my point. I want you guys to remember things, see things, and visualize things in how they actually are. So this is the actual representation of a skin layer, how they look under a microscope when they are stained. Okay, so this is the representation. This is how they actually look. Okay, so we'll move to the next question. And our next question states what? It says, metabolism of these two molecules in our body is directly linked with sunlight. Is it first calcium, magnesium, magnesium and iron and vitamin D and calcium? And your 1 minute starts now. I also want you guys to think about the options which are not the correct answer. Okay. Oopsie, sorry. Yeah, so obviously the right answer is vitamin D and calcium. And I want you guys to tell me how sunlight is affecting the metabolism of vitamin D and calcium. Here, I don't want any technical term or like the exact flow and exact number of steps. I just want you guys to explain it to me how sunlight is affecting the metabolism of vitamin D and calcium. So anyone want to give it a try? Again, I don't want anything related to like exact intermediate name that I at first step this is the process, the second step this is the process, nothing at all. Just very simple, in simple terms, how sunlight is involved in the metabolism of vitamin D and calcium. Anyone? Even if you are wrong, it's okay. No one? Okay, if you But do you guys know, right? Because most of you answered this correctly. So I assume that you know the correct answer. So if the correct answer is vitamin D and calcium, so how it is affected by sunlight? Yeah, Sneh, go ahead.
Ma'am, I don't know the exact mechanism, but from sorry, but from that Bonvita ad, I know that vitamin D is necessary for calcium to absorb, and Bonvita provides vitamin D.
Okay. मतलब, what should I say? Ki you're wrong, but still you are not wrong. Okay. Thank you for attempting this. Yeah. It's completely, it's a very unexpected answer, but no problem. I liked it. Yeah, so it's okay if you guys don't remember how sunlight is directly affecting the vitamin D and calcium metabolism, but basic thing was that we hear from our parents, right? That wake up early, get your sunlight, and then do whatever you guys want to do. So the basic thing why they are saying this, because though they might not know the exact scientific principle behind it or the scientific reason, but they know from their experience and from their parents that getting enough sunlight is necessary for your overall health. So from decades of research, we came to know that sunlight is actually necessary for calcium absorption. How come that we know this? Because when sunlight is present, the sunlight activates the precursor of vitamin D, which is already present. By precursor, what I mean, that vitamin D is not present as it is. Its precursor is present. That precursor needs to be activated to give rise to vitamin D. Okay. So when enough sunlight we get, that precursor gets converted to the active form of vitamin D, that further converts and helps in like in different metabolic pathways, helps in maintaining the calcium level in our body. And if we have a balanced calcium in our body, we can say that it will be helpful in our bone health, it will be helpful in our muscle growth. Those from non-biology background, you should know that it's a very basic thing, right? And also from television ads, at least we know that bones are made up of calcium, right? And muscles contraction, muscles relaxation. For example, if I'm doing this, right? This is relaxation. This is uh, contracting the muscle. So this functionality requires calcium metabolism, calcium transportation. If there is excess calcium or low calcium, this mechanism will be not proper. There will be issues associated with muscle relaxation and contraction. So if we are saying we have enough sunlight, which leads to the sufficient quantities of vitamin D, that vitamin D is helpful in maintaining the calcium balance in our body. So in a way, we can say that sunlight is helping us in maintaining our bone health and muscle health, right? It's very indirect way, but this is how things are related. Everyone okay with this? And as I mentioned, don't worry, even in this figure, there are certain intermediary steps which have some heavy names. Don't worry about it. This is just here to explain it to you how the process is related with the sunlight. Okay. And if you need more information, you can go to this link which I have pasted here. It will give you a very nice overview of the calcium metabolism. So something apart from this question, as we are talking about, like we are hearing this vitamin D, iron, magnesium, calcium, and all those things. Okay. So I want you to tell me, we need all the vitamins from outside. Everyone agrees with me, even the non-biology people, that our body is not able to produce any vitamins. Okay. We need all the vitamins from the outside, either via our diet or supplements. Okay. We need it from the outside. Correct? Okay. So any one of you know that was this condition like this since the beginning, or have we adapted to certain situation? I'll rephrase my question. We know that we need all the vitamins from outside. Our body is not able to synthesize a single vitamin. So was this the condition as it is since the evolution, or since primates say, okay, I'll come to the primates, not prior to that. Since primates. So since primates, all the primates, do they require their vitamin needs to be fulfilled from the outside, or there are certain primates which can synthesize their own vitamins? So if, okay, I'll put it as a yes or no question, because otherwise it will become a subjective question. Okay, so my yes or no question is, first statement is that all the primates cannot synthesize their own vitamin and they need from the outside. My second statement is, not all the primates depend on vitamin from the outside source. Some of them can synthesize their own vitamin. So for those who are with statement 1, type 1 in the chat box. For those who are with statement 2, type 2 in the chat box. Okay. I'm gonna ask examples also. Don't go on the way how I
May
am.
you please repeat once more time if it is convenient to you?
Yeah, in a convenient way. Okay. So our observation is, all the primates, we need vitamin. We cannot synthesize vitamins. So this is our observation. My two statement associated with this observation is, all the primates fulfill their vitamin needs from the outside source only. This is statement 1. Statement 2, not all the primates depend upon outside source for fulfilling their vitamin needs. So are you with statement 1 or statement 2? Okay. I'm gonna ask examples also, guys. Okay. Anyone else wanna give it a try in the answer? Even if it's just a guess, your gut feeling is saying no, first statement is wrong or second statement is wrong. Even with that gut feeling, just put your choice. At least be active in the discussion. Even if you don't know the right answer, even we don't know the right answer, we are just discussing. Okay. This is how biology is so alive, right? That the answer is literally in front of you, but still you're not able to see that. It's fascinating. Anyone else wanna give it a try? I guess people are done with it. Okay. So those of you who answered second, give me the reason. I'm not asking examples, leave it. Give me the reason why you think this, or why you thought that this might be the right answer, because we all are guessing here and we all are discussing. So any one of you who answered 2. Yes, Nay, go ahead. And don't put
Ma'am,
any
I
ad.
think, sure, ma'am. Ma'am, I think vitamin synthesis required energy, and if we can get enough vitamin requirement from outside food sources or supplement sources, why do we need to spend this type of energy in our body? So I guess our primates, matlab our ancestors, like long ancestors, they might have an ability to synthesize their vitamins in their body, but they can get easily those vitamins from outside. So by evolution, they drop their mechanism, so uh, they can save more energy in their body. I am roughly guessing this. Not sure about this.
Ah, no problem. None of us are sure here. It's okay. Anyone else want to add something to this? Yes, Mansi, go ahead.
Ma'am, I want to add, as we know that vitamins are not required by our body in a large amount. They are only needed in small amount just to digest the food that we eat in large amount, like for example, fats, proteins, and carbohydrates. It is not synthesized in our body. We have to take it from supplements and other food sources. And ma'am, that question that you asked, that why other primates, I don't know. I just want to add this because I'm not able to think beyond that.
Yeah, no problem. Don't be sorry. It's okay. So, well, a few corrections in your answer. First, you are correct that we don't need vitamins in large quantities, and they are oftenly used as a helper molecule in digesting our food. But you are not completely right here. First thing, vitamins are necessary elements, necessary molecules. So if you're not getting enough from the diet, your body will stop functioning as normal, indicating though in small quantities, but you need it. It's a need, it's not a want. Okay, because without this, you won't be able to function. Just imagine if you have a vitamin A deficiency, you cannot see at all, right? Your whole system, your whole photoreceptive sensor system completely stops working if you don't have vitamin A, correct? Indicating that though required in small quantities, it is the need and requirement for the body. First thing. Second thing, vitamins often play a role as a cofactor in certain enzymes. Okay. So if you have a enzyme, for example, I don't know the exact enzyme in which vitamin A act as, or in which vitamin, any particular vitamin act as a cofactor. I know about these calcium and magnesium, but I'm not sure about vitamin right now, but I'll get back to you with the example. So there are certain enzymes which are not able to function at all if the vitamin counterpart is not present, right? So vitamins are not there for helping us in digesting the food which we have taken. Indirectly, we can say this because the enzymes which are associated in digesting our food requires vitamin, right? So it's an indirect way of saying things. I hope I made myself clear. Just give a thumbs up if you agree with me. So, and coming back to Sneh, to some extent, you are right, but it was not energy dependent or energy influenced process, because even certain high energy demanding systems are still present in our body because those were absolutely necessary for the functioning of the body, right? So one reason why our body stopped synthesis. Oh shit, I have given you the answer. Sorry. So earlier, if you remember, when we have just started colonizing, earlier we were not colonizing, right? As Homo sapiens, we were not colonizing, like Neanderthals and all, like those like are just immediate ancestors. So you need to imagine that what their diet was predominantly associated with before agriculture started, right? Before agriculture started, what was the major contributor of their food source or their diet? It was, any guesses? There were plants, but there was no wheat. So what was,
Hunting.
sorry?
Hunting.
Your voice is breaking, Sneh. It's okay, you can text me in the chat box. Yeah. So I want you guys to imagine, we at the for example, if I'm not doing cultivation of wheat, rice and all those things, right? I'm not cultivating it. So what will be my most eaten things, considering that, for example, considering, and first was hunting, I agree with this, but what if you didn't had a good hunt that day? You won't starve, right? There will be other things associated with it. You were moving from one place to another place, you're observing there are certain trees which has certain fruits, correct? I get it, it's hunting, it's good, but I want to also ask you, because prior to it, there are trees associated with it. Trees have fruits. So fruits are rich in, anyone? Fruits are rich in vitamins, right? Fruits are rich in vitamins. So, good. So, if our diet comprised mostly of fruits, which has vitamins, so do we actually need genes or processes which will make vitamins inherently? Do we need that? If our demand is getting fulfilled from the outside, do we need certain systems to be in place which will synthesize the same thing? Evolutionary speaking, this is a dead process, right? Because if you're getting already something from the outside, why we need to inherently generate it? So throughout the evolution, when we shifted from hunting to fruit-based diets, and again then to the final cultivation, right? So in hunting, the animals had, for example, just okay. In hunting, there are certain things which are, because we are getting the metabolized form of things, but leave that part. So earlier, when we didn't had fruit-based diet, cause of which we are not able to fulfill our vitamin needs, we actually had system in place in our body which was synthesizing vitamins, specifically vitamin C, right? There's still in our body, we have a pseudo gene which is associated in our ancestors for making vitamin C inherently, which means we didn't need to depend on the outside source for getting enough vitamin C. But gradually, as our diet changed, right, we went towards more agricultural and fruit-based diet, that genes function was reduced from one time of frame to second time of frame, because it was not in need. And in evolution, we clearly know that whatever is not in need, our evolution and our body and our system discards it, right? So our ancestors and primate ancestors specifically, they had a gene which synthesized vitamin C. But due to change in our diet and lifestyle, that gene's functionality was not useful anymore. And hence now it is just a pseudo gene which doesn't work. It's an exciting fact, right? Like, how many of you imagine if nowadays, if we had that gene active, we can actually synthesize our own vitamin C, and then we don't need any citrus fruits around us, right? It's pretty cool thing for me to know. Yeah, okay. So without getting more into random information, I'll go to next question. Yeah, so our next question is, which of the following molecule is not part of extracellular matrix? Is it collagen, elastin, hyaluronic acid, or glia? I'll give you guys 1 minute for this. And also try to think about the other options which are not the right answer, that where they are associated with. Okay. Last 10 seconds. Anyone else wanna drop in their answer? Yeah, this is a very clear-cut question, that the thing which is not associated with the extracellular matrix is the glia. Anyone want to take a dig on it, that where glia is associated? if anyone knows. And assuming Mansi's hand is up since the previous question and you are not raising your hand for this particular question, I'm not gonna ask you. Anyone else wanna give it a try? That glia is associated with what or where, if you want to know, or if you know, sorry. If it is not part of extracellular matrix, it has to be part of something else, right? So what is that something else? Anyone? Have you heard about glia cells? It's okay, don't worry. So before going to glia cell, let's just see what extracellular matrix is composed of. I know this is a bit complex picture. Don't worry, you guys don't need to remember every single thing or every single detail, but this is just here for the representation of how actually the cells look like in the extracellular matrix, right? Again, it's a representation or a representative way of showing how the extracellular matrix look like. I couldn't find a clear or good picture of the real extracellular matrix because oftenly it will be because, okay, yeah. So one thing, how can you, the images which I'm showing you, so if I want to see something inside the cell, what are the ways through which I can look inside the cell? Anyone? Any one technique how we can actually visualize cell or cell organelles, to be specific? Anyone want to give it a try? Oh, you guys are all feeling sleepy or what? Anyone, even if it is a wrong one, I'm just asking. There is a cell. It's very small. You cannot see. So obviously you need a microscope. But if you want to see inside the cell, you have seen all the colorful images of cell, right? At least on social media or on research paper. If you have not gone through any research paper, it's all right. But at least on the social media, you might have seen, right? Certain very colorful, Samadrito, very basic technique, please. Not TEM. TEM is this. We are talking here. Yeah, tests, but what kind of tests? Staining is one way. Good. Again, हाँ एकदम basic से चलना है हमें, ठीक है? Staining is one, and what I want you guys to know is fluorescence properties, like how we are visualizing things by using fluorescence properties of molecules. A molecule which is able to fluorescence or give fluorescence, we will be able to see. So for example, if I have this pen and this is the cap of the pen, right? So if I want to see what is inside the cap is this part of the pen, right? This part of the pen. So how will I be able to visualize it? Because if I look from outside and imagine that this cover is not transparent, it's translucent. So how will you see it? One way, for a cell, what we can do, we can design certain probes for which we know the color, right? If we put a certain wavelength of light on that probe, it will emit certain color of light. So we'll design a probe which will be specific for this part of the pen. We'll submerge this pen into that probe. Then we'll put a light on this system, expecting that wherever that probe will be, it will provide us the signal. That signal will be with of what kind? It will be of light kind, right? We can see that, oh, this is illuminating, this is illuminating, this is visible, this is visible. So those things are called spectroscopic methodology, right? We are using light property to visualize certain things. So most of the biology in which we are able to see inside the cell or even inside the cell organelle, those are mostly the broad spectra, come under the broad spectra of spectroscopy. Okay, don't worry if you don't know about it. It is just a additional information because we are talking about glia. Glia is a type of cell, right? So how we see cell? Earlier, microscope. Even now electron microscope is there, like you can see, literally see inside the cell. But even inside the cell, now you want to see a particular protein, So how you will see a protein? By probing it. Okay. Yeah. So coming to our next question of the day, it's a basic information about the glia here, which I have mentioned. You can go through it. Coming to the next question, what is our next question? Our next question states that the appendages that connect muscle to bone are called ligament, tendon, cartilage, nephrons. Your 1 minute starts now. And also don't just tell me the right answer. Also tell me where other options are associated with. Okay, because then only we'll be able to know the holistic information about a subject. I guess I've got most of the answers. Obviously, the answer is tendons. Okay, I want to know how you guys have learned this, because I had this difficulty when I was introduced to this like cartilage, ligament, and tendon concept. I always used to mix up things. So, do you guys have any trick to learn this, or you just know it? Anyone wanna help me out how to learn this? But now I know. But if you have any trick to learn that this is what a muscle to bone connection is called, or bone to bone connection is called, because I was always confused between these things. So you guys just learned it, or you guys have any particular trick to remember it? If you have a trick, please do share it, because I have other students who might take advantage of it. You guys don't want me to learn or what? It's okay. No problem. So obviously the answer is tendons. And here is the representative way how actually it is connecting and why. Okay, anyone knows a very classic story which is associated with Achilles tendon? Anyone knows? So these are your tendons which are connecting muscle to your bone. Okay. But anyone know about this Achilles tendon? No one. There's a very famous story associated with, okay, I'll give the name out. Achilles heels, it is called. Okay, just give it a search and see what Achilles heels and the story associated with it, and tell me in the next class if you guys are planning to come. Okay, so obviously this was a very direct question, that muscle connected to bone via tendons. Now, can anyone of you tell me why we need this connection? Like why muscles cannot be directly connected to bones? Why we need this intermediary tendon thing for the connection? Anyone want to give it a try? Any basic information that why we need this intermediary thing associated, why muscles cannot be directly connected to bones? Because in difference of structure of cells, Sneh is suggesting this, that I'm assuming that you mean both tendons are made up of different types of cells and muscles and bones are made up of different types of cells. But same, if you are suggesting that muscle and bone are made up of different type of cell, it's correct. So how come tendons are in difference? Tendons are also made up of different things in comparison to muscle and bone, right? Anyone else want to give it a try? Just imagine, see, this is not part of your coursework. This is practical thing. Imagine yourself in such situations when I am asking you certain questions. So there's a reason tendons are there, right? And what is the role of tendon? The role of tendon is to connect muscle to bone. Agreed. So, but what was the thing which was missing through which tendons played their role? Because without tendons, muscle and bone cannot be connected. Why? And if they are connected, then what will happen? Not ridge as bone, as smooth as muscle. Maybe. Some, no, not exactly. See, what I want you guys to think. The moment we say muscle, what is the first thing which comes to your mind? We'll start from here. I'll hopefully by the end of this course, I'll be able to generate some ability of thinking in you guys on how to see things on a broader perspective, because these all are surface level properties. They are not yet cellular level properties, right? We are not going to biomolecular structures or biochemistry or small molecules. We're still talking about a surface representation. So we can see things, we can imagine things. Problem starts when we are not able to see things. For example, if I'm talking about a cell which has a Golgi body, a Golgi body's function is XYZ. So we are not able to see Golgi body in front of our eyes, right? So hence we cannot imagine many things. But if you're talking about surface level properties, we can see and imagine. So now imagine the moment I say muscle, what is the first thing which comes to your mind? Just write it in the chat box. What is the moment I'm saying muscle? And don't worry, even if it is wrong, whatever comes to your mind, just write. Whenever I'm saying muscle, there is something which is coming to your mind. So anyone, please just type in the chat box. What is a thing which you have associated muscle with? No one? See, if I hear the term muscle, the first thing which comes to my mind is contractibility. This is what I think. I don't know about you guys. So if I hear muscle, muscle for me is some stretchy thing which stretches and contracts, right? With force, because I have to put energy and force to stretch it, and I have to leave it free to for it to regain its shape, size, and the form, whatever it was earlier before the force was applied. So this is what comes to my mind. I hope that you also got this, but you were not able to put it in words, right? So this is the first thing which comes to my mind when I think of muscle. Now, what is the thing which comes in your mind when you hear the word bone? Now, I hope that you might be getting the idea where I'm going. So what is the first thing which comes to your mind when you hear the word bone? Just type in the chat box. Without active discussion, these live sessions won't be helpful for you guys. I'm telling that even if it is wrong, don't worry about it. Just try to attempt, try to think. Muscle, I suggested that if I'm thinking of muscle, some stretchy things comes in my mind, right? A thing which has a contractible property. When I'm thinking of bone, what comes in your mind? Supports our body. Good. So we'll build up on this now. Okay. Whenever you hear a word bone, the thing which comes to your mind is supports our body. So for support, do you need a thing which is sturdy, which is strong, or do you need a thing which is lousy and elastic in nature. What you need for support? Do you need a very solid thing which is very strong and it doesn't oftenly goes under shear stress or shear strain? Okay, we won't use these terms, but doesn't go under much change when applied with pressure. So what is the thing you associate with support? Because according to me, if something wants to support, it needs to be sturdy enough, right? It itself needs to be strong. So when I say bone, the thing which comes to my mind is non-changeable, a very solid structure, which even if I apply much force to it, it will resist and it won't change its shape, right? This is what comes in my mind. So now if you put muscle and bone together, for muscle, I said there is a thing which is stretchy and contractible, right? Which is changing when applied with force. A bone in which when I'm applying force, it is not changing, right? So if a ever changing thing or a thing whose sole purpose is to contract and relax is directly pasted on a thing which is sturdy, which is not changing at all, will this be a compatible system? Do you guys think that? This thing want to change. This thing doesn't change. So will this be a compatible system? Yes or no in the chat box. If you're getting my point, what I'm trying to say, just type yes or no. And if you're not getting, okay, Samadrito. We'll take this as an example. Okay. Imagine this is your bone, right? This is your bone. The bone which has a property of not changing. Like how many times we have fell down, but we didn't get fracture, right? Why? Because our bones are sturdy and strong. Correct? However, if you have fell down, or even if you have walked really fast or twisted your ankle, there are often cases where you have ruptured your tendons, right? Or ligaments. We'll talk in the coming slide. Correct? You are here till with me, right? Yes or no? You guys are here with me? If we are falling down for 10 times, we are not getting fracture all the 10 times. But out of these 10 times, there might be scenario in which 2 times we might be getting ligament tear or tendon tear or sprain in our tendons, right? Which means the bone doesn't want to change. The bone is sturdy, the bone is strong. On the other hand, a muscle, right? Okay, it's blood. A muscle. Can you see? I'm able to move this with my sheer hands, right? This is changeable. Correct? It is movable. It is flexible. Specifically these things, the edges of it. It's very flexible, right? It wants to change. The moment I'm applying a little bit of force, it is changing its shape. But as soon as I'm removing the force, it is regaining its shape. Correct? So if only this part is associated with a sturdy part, right? Like this. Now, this part won't to ever change because this part is having force always acting on it. Why? Because we are always moving. I'm doing this. I'm moving my hand. I'm contracting my muscles, right? Which means I'm putting external stress on it. There is always external stress on your muscle. The muscle wants to change. A thing which doesn't want to change, will they be compatible with each other? Won't they counteract each other's behavior? This thing doesn't want to change, and I'm applying constant force from outside on the lower part of it. This has to change because I am applying force, indicating that if this needs to change, this doesn't want to change. So will they be compatible together like this? Yes or no? Anyone of you getting my point? Or I'll try to answer, or I'll try to simplify it more. At least give me inputs, right? Are you able to get it? Yes, no. Okay. So, how our body evolved? A thing which always want to change. A thing which doesn't want to change. Right? They had a connection in between, which has the properties of both, which can change and which can stay bit rigid. Those things are called tendons here when we are talking about bone and muscle, right? So if you are putting pressure here, this tendon in between, which is invisible here, this tendon in between is allowing the muscle to change, right? But on the other hand, it is keeping the ever changing muscle apart from a thing which doesn't want to change. So it is allowing a connection between the dynamic and the static part of a skeletal system. That is why a ever changing thing is not compatible with a sturdy thing. The system will be faulty. This system wants to stay sturdy. This system wants to change. How can they both be together? By putting something in between which has the property of both, we are able to achieve this goal. Okay, great. So without putting much time in it, I hope you got the basic concept of it, that why we need tendons and why we cannot have muscle directly attached to our bones. Okay, the basic principle is about the uh, uh, two different properties of material. If we are merging two different materials, whoever is dominant will show its property, right? But here we want both the systems to work at its apex. Hence, we have come up with an intermediary system, which is called tendons here. This is a basic structure of the bone I have given here so that you guys can just see that what are the partitions in a bone. A typical bone is there. Coming to the next question. Oopsie, sorry. Coming to the next question, the appendages that connect bone to bone are called, obviously now you know the answer, but still give me the answer. Is it ligament, tendon, cartilage, or nephrons? So the correct answer is the appendages that connect bone to bone are called okay. Okay. Obviously, the correct answer is ligament, and this is how your muscle and bone and bones itself are connected. Muscle connected to bone via tendons. Bone to bone are connected via ligaments. If you guys are interested and anyone want to answer this, or even just want to discuss or just want to give it a try, why do we need ligaments? Anyone? We can have bone to bone connection, right? We don't have any problem with that. But why we need ligaments? Anyone want to give it a try? Chalo, it's okay. We'll discuss this in the coming days, maybe. If you guys are interested, then we'll discuss this. Okay. Our next question is, chondrocytes are the primary cell types consisting ligament, tendon, cartilage, or eyes. Okay. I've started getting some answers. Okay. Okay. Obviously, the answer is cartilage, that chondrocytes are oftenly the cells which consist cartilage. And you can see here, these are the cells, how they actually look like. These are the cartilage, chondrocytes, right? And cartilage is present between the bones. It acts as a shock absorber, and other properties are also associated with it. Our next question is, mesenchymal stem cells cannot differentiate into muscle, cartilage, bone, or gametes. Okay. Okay, we have few answers. More answers? Yeah, obviously the correct answer is gametes. And for people who are not from biology background, there are different levels of differentiation, as I was discussing earlier in the class. So mesenchymal stem cells are somewhat differentiated cells, which means they can give rise to multiple cells, but still not all the cells. Okay. So gametes, as I mentioned earlier, that they are the like gametes include sperm and ova cells, which are the sex determining cells, and they are the ones which has the property of totipotency. I'm sorry if I'm using these terminologies and you're not aware of it. We're going to discuss it literally in the next question, but there are different levels of differentiation. Just get this. So mesenchymal stem cells have crossed one stage of differentiation, hence they cannot differentiate into gametes, but still they can differentiate, they can give rise to multiple other cells. Okay. So I've just given a basic definition and the difference between totipotent and pluripotent. So totipotent are the cells which can give rise to embryonic cells, right? Or placental cells. And your pluripotent cells are the ones which cannot give rise to placental cell, but can give rise to multiple other cells. Pluripotent cells then get differentiated into multipotent cell, then multipotent cell get converted into further different stages. There are stages, and in the next slide, I'm gonna show you what those are. Okay. So our next and last question for today is, the more the potency of a cell, it means what? That first, it cannot differentiate into any cell type. The more cell type can differentiate into, or they doesn't that it doesn't say anything about differentiation potential, or none of the above. I guess it's a pretty easy question, right? So yeah, obviously. So it means, see, higher the potency of a cell, potency means potential ability, right? So higher the potency of a cell, it has more potential and more ability to convert into more different type of cells. Okay. So, okay, now anyone wanna give me a brief, all the biology students, help non-biology people to understand this basic flow of potency. I don't want anything, but whatever is represented here, can you guys explain it to me, or other people here? Anyone want to give it a try? Okay, don't worry. So what is the first stem cell is about? The first stem cell, the first embryonic stem cell after fertilization, right? It's called totipotent stem cell. Totipotent stem cell has the ability to convert into any type of cell depending upon what stimulus it gets. Okay. So after this stage, a cell attains somewhat functionality, somewhat very basic functionality. Still, it is a stem cell. It can give rise to any other cell, but still it is somewhat differentiated that it can give rise to all the cell. For example, 99% of the cell, but still there is 1% of cell which this won't be able to give rise to. Those cells are called pluripotent cell. So totipotent is the one which will be able to give rise to 100% of the other cells. Pluripotent cells are the one which will be able to give rise to 98% of the cells. Okay. So in pluripotent cell, we have other further differentiation into endoderm, mesoderm, ectoderm. Don't worry about that. Now, if this was able to give rise to 98% of the cells, 98% of the other cells, this further multipotent cell will be able to give rise to 30% of the other cells, but remaining 70% it won't be able to give rise or make or differentiate into. So you can clearly see, right, that the potential of differentiation is decreasing as we are moving from this layer to this layer, which means the specificity of a cell is increasing if we are moving from this layer to this layer. Okay, don't worry about the terminology, just get the overall view that totipotent, which means total potential. Okay, that it will be able to give rise to all the cells. Pluripotent matlab there are majority of the cells that it will be able to give rise to. Multipotent cell means most of the cells it will be able to give rise to. Okay, I hope that this is clear to you guys. So this is all from my side with respect to today's lecture. And before going, I would suggest you guys to think about these few questions which I have put here. I'm not going to discuss it, but it is just for your thinking and imagining and ability to visualize things and understand how the physiology works. Okay. If